Oh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Team Scentastic Hangout, where we get together every single Tuesday afternoon to get inspired, to get motivated. And today, it's really, really exciting because we're going to be talking about something that could really, really help your business. So I'm going to pass it over to Jocelyn so she can introduce our amazing guest speaker.
Hi everyone, my name is Jocelyn Hillman and I am a superstar director as of a few days ago. Yay! I just want to introduce our speaker today. Her name is Sarah Thomas. Sarah Thomas is a good friend of mine and she's from Kansas City. Sarah is a star director, been with Scentsy I believe 5 years. Sarah and I met on our last year's incentive trip in Greece. Sarah and I have been on the same team or the same group, not really the team, but the same group for a good 4 years now, and we knew of each other, but really didn't know each other. And then about a year ago, Allison Delkey, our superstar director, had a retreat in the mountains in Oklahoma, in Oklahoma, and Sarah invited me, so graciously invited me down to her place, so I hopped on a plane and went to Kansas, and I stayed with her overnight, and she took me to a really awesome barbecue restaurant. Never heard anything like that before. To us Canadians, a barbecue is where you go outside and you put meat on the grill and you have a barbecue. Yeah, no, Americans, they are all about going to a restaurant that's called the barbecue. Yeah. It was really neat, really cool. First time I ever experienced that. I had a lot of first times in that trip, and I absolutely love and adore Sarah. She's been my rock ever since. Her and I have talked many times. We probably talk at least once, if not at least once every 2 weeks on the phone. She's been like an amazing Scentsy sister to me, and I thought she would do really, really good to show us all how she started her business, and how Sarah started it was with basket parties. And she grew an amazing business starting off with basket parties. So without further ado, Sarah Thomas.
Oh, thank you. No, thank both of you for inviting me to be able to come share my story and the way that I got started with building my Scentsy and now my Velada business. This is my first hangout, so I'm super excited. This is kind of fun. These girls are getting me outside of my comfort zone because they both know that I don't love being in front of the camera, but I guess that is part of it, right? So thank you for this opportunity. So really quick, I'll share my story. I did join Scentsy in October of 2010, so I have a 5-year anniversary coming up. I have a hubby that traveled, 2 little kids that were, well, they're now almost 13 and 9, so 5 years ago. You can do the math. We were completely broke. I had lost a job. We added another baby. Some things happened with our home, and so we went into major, major debt. And so here I was home with these small kids, living less than paycheck to paycheck, and since it came into my life, kind of by accident, I had a lady across the street that kept bugging me to have a party. I told her no, I loved my candles. You know, you guys have heard tons of these stories. Didn't want to host the party. She wouldn't leave me alone, so finally said, fine, I will, but I can't buy anything. I don't know how it's going to go. But I did love candles. However, I bought, 1 candle a week at $5, and so I thought there's no way that I could ever afford this stuff. So long story short, had the best party ever. She showed up at my house. She actually did not. She walked in my house. She set testers on my table, and that was about it. She didn't explain anything, but I had a great party. That's where I got my first free warmer, free scent. Immediately, like everyone else, fell in love with the product, and that was about it. A few days later, my friends and family started asking me, like, oh my gosh, how do we order more of this stuff? In the meantime, another Scentsy consultant, I had reached out to her. I had seen that she'd been doing a lot of stuff, so I said, okay, tell me, you're always posting about this, like, tell me about this. And she sent me some information, told me about it, and I thought, well, maybe my friends and family, a few of my friends said that they wanted to have parties, and so I thought, well, maybe if I just do their parties, that'll be my way to get my free stuff, because I couldn't afford anything else. When I did my party, I took only the free stuff, no half price. I didn't go over anything. I was that hostess. But I thought, you know, if I just sell to my friends and family, then I can get my stuff for free. Didn't plan on it being anything long-term or any more than that. The only problem was it was $99 to get started, and where was this money going to come from? Because at the time, it's like, you know, we could barely, groceries were going on a credit card. And my hubby and I had just made a pact that there was no more credit cards, you know, no matter what. And so here I go to him and say, okay, just one more thing. And basically, he kind of thought I was a little crazy, like, you know, really, this is wax. But he said, I'll support you, but you got to make this money back. And so I said, okay. And I seriously sent, I think I did put on a credit card. I know that we didn't have the money, so I did that. And immediately I knew that I had to make it work. And so as I started talking to who I signed up under, I didn't sign up under the lady across the street because I wanted to make sure that I was going to get some support. I signed up, and she started telling me different ways that people were doing this. Because the thing is my husband was traveling, and I'm like, there's no way that I can commit to doing home parties. I had 2 little kids. He sometimes would come home or call and say, hey, I got to go out of town. And so it was like, well, how am I going to commit to home parties? And truthfully, I did not want to do home parties. I had some direct sales experience prior to this, and I didn't want to do home parties. And again, the commitment was the biggest thing. So when you hear that, of people saying, oh, I don't want to do home parties, well, here's the solution. She mentioned to me that day about basket parties. Sometimes you hear them called bag parties, on-the-go parties, travel parties, whatever you want to call them. And I thought, oh, well, this could be a way that I could earn my money back, because I knew no matter what, I had to get this $99 back. And so my cousin actually lives right next door to me. I called her immediately and said, hey, I'm going to send you with one of these bags or baskets. I don't know anything about it, but I need you to take it to work, because I didn't have a lot of contacts being at home. I need you to take it to work, and I need you to get me orders. And so I didn't even have a kit. I think it was the day that I bought my kit, but I did not have a kit. We got a catalog from the lady that did my party, and I sent her with the catalog. No testers, no nothing. She came home that evening and said, oh my gosh, I got $400 in orders. And I was so excited, because I knew if I got to 500, I was going to earn my money back. So I was so excited that without any testers, only a catalog, she had taken this bag to work and had gotten those orders. And she says to me, this was so easy, maybe I want to sign up and sell it. And I was excited, but I was like, oh my gosh, no, you can't do that, because, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I need this $400 in sales to get my money back. And so as we chatted more about it, she's like, well, I'm just going to do it. And so I was like, okay. And that's when I realized that maybe this was going to be my way of making something out of this. So here, my kit had not even arrived yet. I sent this with her one day at work. She was amazed at how she got orders without any sense. She only had a book, came home, and here all of a sudden I have this team member where I wasn't even expecting this. So immediately I realized, whoa, well, if she did that easy, you know, what could come of this? So I decided that for me, bag parties was going to be the way that I would promote this, again, to my friends and family. But quickly, the next day, somebody else said, oh, well, I'll take one of those to work. And I thought, oh, my goodness. And so very quickly, people just wanted to take these bags to work. And that's how I got started. And honestly, I was telling Jocelyn and Nick this morning that the first 3 years of my business, I maybe did 5 home parties. So you have to find what works for you. For me, it was bag parties. Now, so here I'm going to show you what was in my bag party, because my bag parties then were very differently than they are today. But honestly, I'm kind of going back to the basics of those days. When I joined, again, so I order my kits. My kit arrives. I did not have money to buy the thermal tote. I don't even know if we had thermal totes, but I didn't have money to spend on making these pretty and fancy. All I had was my kit. I couldn't invest in anything else. So what I did is I went to the dollar store. I got, and honestly, I maybe even grabbed some from house. I'm like a hoarder, so I probably got gift bags and we're saving them. But I remember those first parties, I used gift bags. So if you have a brand new consultant who is in a financial bind like I was, she can make this work without having to go spend after her kits going and getting spending a ton of money. So I got gift bags. Dollar store, I think they were like 3 for $1. And so in this gift bag was, I gave 2 catalogs, 15 order forms. As far as testers, I didn't have money to buy testers. So I took my kit, I sat it on the floor, I broke it down into the categories, and each bag got maybe 15 cents. I took a couple out of each category. And I broke it down. I think when I figured the amount that I wanted to make, I knew that I wanted to have 3 or 4 of these go out. And so I made enough for 3 or 4 of those to go out. And that's how, in my first month, that's how I did it. And so I had 3 or 4 of these going a week. I let them keep them for 10 days. They don't need it any longer than that. Inside of it was, like I said, the catalogs, the order forms, a few scent samples, a hostess letter that walked them through exactly where to go to my website for online orders, how to calculate the tax, and then I'll show you a little money pouch. This little pouch, can you guys see this? And this is just so that they can put the money in there. You can use an envelope. In the beginning, it was just an envelope. And that's how I built my business. But here's what happened in that first couple of weeks. Exactly what happened to my cousin. They took this to work. Friends, family, churches, they would bring it back to me. They would have anywhere from $2 to $5 to $600, $800 in orders. And they all would say, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Maybe I want to do this. So it made sense right off the get-go. I was flipping these bag party hostesses into new team members because it just made sense. Their friends, family, coworkers, church members, they were going to order from them anyways. And so that's what I did. And so I started doing that, and it was almost like every hostess that had a bag party, they were turning into new team members. And so that's how I built a team without doing home parties. As time went on, I did use, my Sensational Start credits to build up my bag parties. I then got to where they were getting all 80 cents, but honestly, now that I've reevaluated that, I think that sometimes all those cents can be overwhelming to them when they're taking them into an office. Maybe they only have, a few minutes to spare to smell. And so now what I do is it still has the catalogs, the order forms, the letter. I now put a sample of the laundry care in there. I put a scent of the month bar in there, and then they get the current mini testers with a few of each out of each category. So they're still not getting all 80 cents, still getting what's new, because mostly that's what people want to smell, what's current, what's new, and then I give them a few testers out of each category. And it's worked just fine going back to that system. And so I don't know, what else, Jocelyn? I think that is really about it. Like I said, once I did convert from the, so eventually I was making money, obviously, and so I grew out of just my paper gift bags. You can do anything. Like, this is what they look like now. I have a couple different ones, but what they look like now, it's just a thermal bag, Sarah's Scents. You can go into the Scentsy store and get those thermal totes. Those work great. You can use the, when you buy a set of mini testers, those bags, some people will break those up and they'll just stick their catalogs in there. I've seen like some makeup bags. Like, there's so many different ways that you can do it and what you want to call it. But the basic thing is to just get them out there. So when you hear somebody say, oh, I would love to have a party, I would love to earn free stuff, but I don't have time to have a home party. Oh, I don't know 30 people to get to my house. Oh, well, we're going to be going out of town. Bag parties are the perfect thing because you don't have to clean your house. You don't have to make food. You don't have to worry about inviting 30 people. You're going to take this everywhere that you're going every single day anyways. And what I love about it also is that, there's months in the summer. If you're going on vacation or if you have, things going on that, and maybe you love doing home parties, which is great. And now that my life has changed and my husband doesn't travel and my kiddos are older, I do home parties now. But my bag parties are my fill-ins. Those are just my extra. And on months where we're traveling, whether it's an incentive trip or it's leadership or convention or on vacation, I don't stop working my business. I just, instead of doing home parties, I do bag parties. And I just love that you can have as many of these going out as you want. So you choose. Do you want to have one going, or do you want to have three or four? Yes.
Sarah, can you talk about how you get them to continue to get, how they get people to get bag parties for you?
Yes. Okay. So I will give you some of the, I don't want to say pros and cons, but I will say one thing about a bag party is that you do have to make sure that you're following up with those customers, because you're not making that instant connection with them. You're not face-to-face with them when they're making that order. So you want to make sure that you follow up with them. Hey, thank you so much for your order. I normally will do this. If I can, I will call them, send them a text or an email saying thank you for your order, from ordering from Jocelyn's Bag Party. If I'm not able to do that, then I definitely do it once I know that they should have gotten their stuff, just like you would a normal party, following up. And so at that point, I will ask them, hey, have you ever thought about having one of these of your own? But I also have, and it's in my hostess letter, the hostess gets a bonus if she gets 3 more people to take the bag from her party. So I honestly treat it, I hostess coach them, I treat it the same as a home party. It's just I'm not going to their home. And they're keeping it for 10 days, and they're taking it with them. Really, they're doing the work. But I still hostess coach them, pretty much the same, except for we're not sending out invites. I check in with them every couple of days. Hey, how's it going? What's the most popular things that people are getting? Keeping that excitement going so that she's remembering to take it to work and take it to church and take it to her friend's house. But yeah, I give them a bonus for if they get other people to take the bag parties.
Right.
But again, like my biggest thing is that it's a great alternative when people say, a lot of times I'll hear from my team, oh, no one wants to have parties, and I'm like, okay, well, what are the reasonings that you're getting? And so when they're getting those reasons of, I'm too busy, or I don't want to clean my house, or, I have little ones, or whatever it may be, this is the alternative. I don't just stop and say, okay, well, darn, it's like, oh, well, I have this. And sometimes they prefer it. It makes it easier for them. It makes it easier for you. If you have small kiddos or your team members have small kiddos, well, I was able to load my kids up in the car, drop it off, load them back up to go pick it up, and then load them back up to deliver. So at the time, it just worked for us, and yeah, that's how I did it.
Remember one time we were talking and you were saying how you would, if somebody would carry on a bag party, that you would give them a gift? A nightlight or something. If they would find somebody to take the bag on. If you didn't find it, I think this was coming from you. I'm not quite sure. I think it's where if they would find somebody to take the bag party on, that you would give them like a nightlight for half price or.
Yeah. So there's always a bonus, and it kind of varies. It depends on that. That hostess, just like when you hostess coach a regular home party, if there's something that I know that she really, really wants, and maybe she didn't get, the sales that she needed to get that, then I'll say to her, hey, here's the deal. You didn't, you haven't gotten anybody. If you can get one person to take that bag, maybe these 10 people that ordered aren't interested, make some phone calls. If you get 10%, or one person to get it, then I will give you this item that you're really wanting at half off. So
right.
Yeah, there's always an incentive to keep them going.
Right.
But I love it because, like I said, even if you're not able to do home parties, you can have as many of these going as you want. Like
right.
This week, I had 3 of them. So tonight, I just went and I made a little loop around, and I picked up 3 of these parties.
Mm-hmm. Also, we were going to talk about how you do bag parties with Velada as well.
Yes. So I have carried this into Velada as well. with the, now I do a lot of home tastings with Velada because people love the Velada experience. However, when I get that same reason of, oh man, I really love this stuff, I really would love to earn it for free, but that's when I say to them, hey, why don't you take something home? Now, honestly, because this is so new for me, I'm still kind of playing with it a little bit. Um, Typically, I will give them, again, it depends on, I talk to them and can, figure out exactly what they're looking for, but a lot of times I'll give them a crate maker. Take this crate maker because a lot of places can take this into their place of business. They have a break room. So take the crate maker, and so with that, keep that for a week. Crate maker, crate mix, you and your family are going to use it, take pictures, post it on Facebook, take it to work. Um, there's many churches that before and after services will, do a food thing, and so that's a great way to, hey, I'm going to make crepes today. You can give them rubs. If you're not doing the crepe thing, we can put some rubs in there. If you know that they're going to, maybe they're like, oh, I'm, having a party this weekend for football or a birthday party or whatever, give them one of the fondue warmers set out. So that one I'm still kind of tweaking a little bit, but it's the same exact concept. It's basically just another alternative for them to be able to share the product just in a different way, and they can reach more people as they're going on and about with their busy lives.
Does anyone else, I know you guys can hear us, but anyone else have any questions for Sarah on that? No? Okay. You guys can hear me, right? All right.
So and the thing is that for me, especially now that it's kind of like the filler, it's a no-brainer to flip these hostesses. That's the biggest thing, is flipping these bag parties into new team members, because it makes sense. It's easy, especially if they're working outside the house and they take it to their place of work. It's like, hey, why don't you join? Because these people are going to come back to you week after week, month after month to rejoin. And so I didn't look at the numbers. I should have, as to, I would say probably the 1 in 4 statistic of them flipping is a given.
Wow. Good. Huh. Does anybody else have anything that they want to add to that? I don't know where Nick went. I don't see her there.
Don't, and this goes with both, but don't be afraid to flip those hostesses either. Like I said, when my cousin said, oh, this is so easy, I want to sign up, I did. I freaked out. I'm like, no, I needed that money. But 5 years later, she's still on my team. I've got to watch her do amazing things. And so that $100 that I gave up that day, not only has it come back to me money-wise, but it's come back to me in other ways of her success. It was a win-win for both of us. And so these are easy ways to flip your hostesses, because it's easy. I remember just a couple stories, a couple weeks in, my aunt, she took it to Bunko. Well, it was a Friday night here, my aunt took it to Bunko. She didn't have to do a lot of work. She sat it out on the table and people ordered. But when she brought it back to me on Monday, she was like, oh my gosh, this was so easy. All I did was this. And I said, yeah, well, while you took it to Bunko, I was, spending time with my family or whatever. So it's like they're already doing the work. Say, oh, well, I'm not really a salesperson. I'm not this and that. You've already done it. It's what you just did. And so, yeah, besides my launch party, my launch home party, in my first 70 days, I did, and I'm not saying don't do home parties, but I didn't do any home parties, and I became a director in my first 70 days by flipping these bag parties into team members.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think a lot of them would like to hear, too, is how you became a director so quickly.
It was just flipping hostesses.
Right.
Because it just made sense, and it was that, I think it really stems from that day that my cousin said, hey, this was so easy. I want to do this. And so then it just made sense that, everybody that took it to their work, it makes sense. It's like, wow, you have nothing to lose,
Yeah. And also a lot of repeat customers, too. You find a lot of them say that they'd like to take another bag party?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Most of them, it becomes like a monthly thing to where, and I have some hostesses who haven't flipped. Not everybody wants to sell it, and so I have some that they will repeat scents just, at their work through the catalog, and it's just like, once a month here, and it's silly. I say to them all the time, why aren't you doing this? But they don't want to mess with it. But yeah, definitely repeat hostesses and repeat customers on that one.
Nick, are you back? I just see her picture there. Okay, maybe not. So, do you feel like, I just want to know if everybody feels like, if they have any questions, because do you feel like you've shared what you want to share with us? Sarah?
Oh, yes. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I talk really fast, so I'm thinking, did I share enough? Like, do you guys have any questions? What are you thinking?
I talk to you all the time, so
Yes.
it's not.
Well, and just the thing to keep in mind is that there's different ways for everyone. And so when you are out there offering that opportunity, there's going to be people that are going to have a reason as to why maybe they don't think that they can do this. For me, my initial reason of this maybe not working was because, how...
Hey, Stephanie, give me a minute. I'll call you right back, okay?
And so this gives them an alternative. It gives a new team member an alternative if they can't do home parties. Or maybe they travel for their job. And so, so it's just an alternative for a consultant, but it's a big alternative for your hostess as well.
I have a question, actually.
Yes.
So one of my recruits who's watching on YouTube is asking me to ask you, have you ever had a problem with somebody not returning this stuff, or if it gets returned and it's like broken, or, how do you handle that? How do you deal with that?
Okay, so that is a very good question, because I have had people who have asked me things like, do you make them sign a contract? Do you make them responsible? I don't. Personally, there was one time, so in 5 years of doing lots and lots of bag parties, there was only one time that I had I got the bag back eventually, but she kept it for a really long time. But I did get it back. I don't put things in there. Some people do put plugins and warmers. I don't personally do that. Now, if it's somebody who has never experienced Scentsy, I will give them a nightlight warmer to use. I've always gotten that back. In the summer when it's hot, you just want to be sure to remind them, hey, be really careful of these testers, not to leave them in the car. Sometimes I've gotten testers back melted. I'm big on what you focus on is what you're going to get. And so, like, for me, my mindset is that, oh my gosh, my hostesses are awesome. I trust them. They're very loyal to me. And a couple times, maybe testers have melted. And when it does, I just, I eat it and reorder it and don't even make a big deal about it. I think if you just focus on how amazing your customers and hostesses are, then you'll end up with amazing customers and hostesses. But that is a very good question.
Awesome, thank you. She heard you, so I do appreciate that.
Laurel, you might have to put yourself on mute. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So do you feel like you've shared what you wanted to share? I'm not sure what your notes were there, Sarah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's pretty, I know that it kind of seems like, oh my gosh, this is, I feel like, oh, maybe I should have said more, but it really is just... Cool. And the other thing, just to, reiterate, a new team member coming in, is that this, I will say that when a new team member does join, immediately I give them one of these bag parties to take so that they can start collecting orders immediately. But this is a way, they don't have to, again, if they can or they want to go out and make them look all pretty and beautiful in these beautiful bags, they can, but I did not. Just, make it simple. They don't have, it's like here they're already investing in their startup kits. They don't have to go out and then spend all of this money in making this pretty. It's like people just need to be able to smell a few scents and look at that catalog. And my parties were no less than the person that, they were no less than they are now that I do have the thermal totes and things like that. And there's times where I have so many of those out that I have to resort back to having the the little gift bags.
Well, I've gotten to the point where I have 8 sets of testers of mini testers as well. And not to say that I have 8 sets of mini bag parties out at one time, but I do keep. The reason why I keep a few of them back is when I have a new consultant join, I want to get her off on a good start. So I will lend her a set for a week till she, gets her starter kit and like that.
I do the same thing, and I do try to have 3 or 4 of these going a week. Again, I would say I probably have 3 to 4 going every 10 days because normally as they're coming in, I'm swapping them out. Is what I try to do. Some months it's more, some months it's less, but it's a perfect way to keep your business going when maybe you have other things going on in life and maybe you can't commit to those home parties or those events.
I'm like you. I feel like when I offer a party to someone, I always start with a home party, but then I want to make sure that they know there's options, and I will end with a bag party. Because I want to let them know that they're welcome to have me come and do a party in their home, or I even offer people to have a party in my home. But if that's not what they want to do, I always resort to a bag party. And 9 times out of 10, I have people say, "What's a bag party?"
Yeah.
They have no clue that that's even an option, and they get excited when I don't just like to tell them, I like to show them. I'll get out one of my bags and put all the testers in, and I'll load it all up with like my business cards, a bar of wax, like you said, washer with samples. Yeah, and I'll put all that, catalogs, order forms, all that in a bag, pretty caring Scentsy bag, and off they go.
Yeah.
And I'm the same thing. I've never had anybody sign a contract, never, not once. And I have in my 4 years, I'm the same as you. I've only experienced it one time where I took a long time for the girl to get me my set of testers back, and I had to hound her for a while, but I eventually did get it back. And it wasn't back in the day when I first started. There was a buddy in there, and there was a nightlight and a couple other things, and it wasn't a basket because I thought that's what you were supposed to do it in a basket party.
Yeah.
And he was a heavily smoker person, so my buddy came back around like I could not sell it. Yeah. So it resorted me to a bag party with less product, and I still do the same amount of business with that bag party versus doing it in a basket and loading it all up. So
I definitely does. I think it does help with the opportunity also because it is. They're just like, oh, well, this was easy,
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially people that work in businesses and offices, like stuff like that, like banks. Anywhere where they have a lunchroom where they can get together with their friends and show it and smell it, like.
Nurses are the perfect bag party hostesses too, especially night nurses. Well, hopefully their patients are sleeping.
Teachers.
Smell the testers.
Yeah. So.
Make sure to always have a bag party on you, though, because you just never know when you're going to run into that person and have that opportunity to say, here you go, take it with you. So if you're doing home parties, take bag parties with you. Oh, that was one thing I forgot to say. When you do home parties, have a couple bag parties with you in case there is that person that says, hey, I can't do this or whatever. You have the opportunity to give them a bag party right then and there. And seriously, you just never know when you're going to run into somebody at any point. It's like, hey, here you go, And especially if they take it right then when they're excited, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. They're going to share it with their friends. So same thing at events. I'll take one at events too. Just again, same thing. And those are parties that you're immediately saying, here you go.
Yeah. Every event I do, I make sure I have at least 2 to 3 bag parties ready to go. Because I know right there and then they're all like excited about having a party, and as soon as you start talking to them about it, they kind of like pull back, and it's like as soon as I get that feel of I don't know, it's like, well, how about a bag party? I have one here ready to go.
Oh, I can do that. And I'm like, you have nothing to lose. Take it, try.
Yeah.
If nothing happens. If it does, then awesome. The other thing is. Personally, I always assume that it's going to be a qualifying party, and so that's just kind of the assumption. So I was going to say that I don't ever charge shipping. Typically, it does come back. I know that now you guys have shipping. Sorry, that's probably a sore subject. But in the U.S., I just assume that it's going to come back. And I would say 99.9% of the time, it always comes back as qualified. So that's never been an issue either.
Hang on a second. I think somebody needs to mute.
Well, yakking and shivering ain't getting us anywhere.
Somebody's TV is on.
Look at that no good wine.
Laurel? Laurel?
Yes, sorry, I'm here. I'm here.
Is your TV on?
My TV? Yeah, I've been muted. I just literally unmuted myself
Okay.
when I heard you calling me.
Anybody else's TV on? I hear a dog barking. Anybody? I don't know what to say about that. Could you hear that, Sarah?
Yeah, I heard it. It's gone now.
Okay. It was hard for me to hear you over that. Okay.
Questions?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Where were we? So bag parties, talking about...
I just asked if anyone had any other questions. I think that's about it. I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. You know, be sure that you are coaching them. And the follow-up, that's going to be the biggest thing, is make sure that you follow up so that you still build that connection with them, since you're not going to see them face-to-face.
Right. And it's the same thing with the follow-up, letting them know when you're checking your tracking and stuff like that, and you see that it's coming, and the tracking actually gives you a date, feel free to throw them a text and say, hey, just check the tracking, and it's coming, you know, today's Monday, and it's going to be delivered to me by Wednesday, just to give them a heads up that, you know, that you haven't forgot about them, and it's coming in. I think they really like it when you keep in touch with them. Huh. I don't know if Nick is there. She's got herself on mute too.
I know I can really fast, but...
Austin, can you hear me?
I can, Julie.
I think Nick had said that you'll need to close.
Funny girl. I can't shut it down.
I think she got in contact with Crystal to be able to shut it down.
Yeah, like we can continue talking after the recording, but I can't close the recording.
All right, I'll see what's going on.
Okay. All right. I could try, but I don't want to mess it up. So anyway, anybody else have any questions that they want to? I see some people on here that I don't know. Let's go. Hi, Julie. Omnet. Oh yeah, there she is. Anyway, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate you know, you coming on and talking to us and sharing your story with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Is this something you could see yourself doing again?
Oh yeah. Once I get started, I'm good.
Yeah. So, Julie, did you get a hold of her?
No, but I see that Crystal's on.
Oh, okay.
On mute.
Crystal, can you hear us? She's on mute.
Yeah, I can. Sorry.
Ah, okay. I feel like we're ready to shut it down. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if nobody has any other questions, then Sarah, stay on. Okay, so just gonna shut down the recording.
Okay.
But so anyway, if anybody doesn't have any questions, then we'll thank Sarah for coming, and we'll talk to everybody else later.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.